Welcome to this tutorial on simple edits in Photoshop. Today we're going to look at a portrait and look at some nice easy tools that we can use to make our portraits pop a little bit more. So we're going to start by just doing some simple edits that will help us to bring out some vibrancy in this photo, make sure the eyes are full of life, and clean up some blemishes requested by the client. So let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we have the amount of clarity and contrast that we're looking for. So in this case, I would like to use our curves tool. So I'm going to go to our layer option, new adjustment layer, and go to curves. Now, if you've used any other program like Lightroom, you might be familiar with this. Our curves tool here allows us to change the brightness and the shadows of the image. So a quick introduction to the curves. On the left side here, we have our shadows. You'll notice as I pull this up, the shadows are being filled in with light. On the right side, we have our highlights. Opposite thing, I pull it down, our highlights are getting filled in. Just as a quick demonstration, if we flip them, we get our negative, our inverted image. Now, for the sake of this photo, because this is like a traditional headshot, we just want to give it a little bit more contrast. A pretty simple way to do this is something we call an S-curve. We'll start up here in the top right, and I'm just going to pull this up a little bit, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to go the opposite direction. We call this an S-curve because, as you can see, it does make a little subtle S. The more you go, the more extreme it will be, and the more of an S it will be. But that is too contrasty for my taste, so I'm going to bring it back down a little bit. Great, I think that's a nice level of contrast. And if you look at the before and the after, it's pretty subtle, but it does make a difference. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to bring up some brightness in the eyes. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate my layer down here, and I can do that with Command J or Control J if you are on a PC. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, and I'm going to do that with Command plus or Control plus and get right in there on the eyes. Now, because I have a duplicated layer, I can do whatever I want to this one and it's not going to affect the image below. So in this case, I am going to use my dodge tool. Now, dodge tool will lighten anything that you touch with it, and burn tool does the opposite. So we're going to go ahead and grab that dodge tool, and I'm just going to paint over the eye. And you can see it getting brighter. I'm going to go a little bit more extreme than I would normally like, just to give you an idea. Let's zoom back out, Command minus, and wow, look at that. That is a little bit too much, right? So the good thing about Photoshop is that we can always go backwards. So I'm going to click on my history tool, and I'm just going to go back the second pass. And I'll go ahead and I'm going to go in and do the other eye. So Command plus, and I did 2 passes on the last eye. I'm going to do 2 passes on this eye as well. And it still is a little bit bright for my liking. So here's what I'm going to do to make this nice and easy. I'm going to come to my copy and I'm going to lower the opacity. And now just a little bit more light and life in the eyes. The next thing that we're going to look at is by the request of the client. The client is using this for her acting headshots, and she requested that we remove the mole and lighten up the wrinkles a little bit around the eyes. Now, we want to keep her looking natural and like an actual human, so we're not going to go too strong on this. We're going to do some light touches. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer just to keep myself safe. And I'm going to start by working on the eyes. Now, a nice easy way to deal with wrinkles is to come in here and use our spot healing brush tool. And what I will do is I'm going to paint directly onto the wrinkles. Now, one thing I need to make sure is that we are sampling all layers, so that way it will be pulling from the actual image. Remember, this is on a blank layer. So I'm going to go ahead and start just painting over these wrinkles. You'll notice that it is filling them in quite nicely. Okay, now that we have done that, this is again a very quick and dirty edit, but let's just see what the difference looks like. So there's before and after. Now you do want to keep it looking natural. So again, we're going to come over to our opacity and we're just going to lower it a little bit. No one has 0 wrinkles. She just wanted them filled in a little bit, not completely gone. So we go ahead and we're just filling them in just a little bit with our opacity around 70%. Now, what about the mole? She asked for the mole to be completely removed. Now, I am also a woman with a mole. I understand wanting them gone from your face sometimes. Sometimes we want to keep them. In this case, she wants it completely gone. So I'm going to go ahead and do this again, make a new layer. And I'm still using my spot healing tool, and I'm just going to paint on the mole. And bam, it is gone. So let's look at the before and after again. Let's go ahead and look at our final product. So I'm going to turn off those edits that we made. And that's our original image. And this is with our edits. As you can see, although subtle, it does make quite a big difference. So thank you for watching. Go ahead and try this out on your own photos.